Hi guys, today we're going to be making a Father's Day card. And for this card, it could also be a masculine birthday card or just an everyday card to anyone that you want. It's going to be using this beautiful set here. This is from Stampin' Up. It's called By the Tide. I also have some cardstock here. This is Recollection Craft cardstock, and this is a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card once it's scored and folded down. I also have some white cardstock. You're going to need one piece for your liner on the inside and one piece to stamp on. I also have some blue cardstock here, and I have my Nestability dies. These are just the classic squares, and the set looks like this, and the ones I'm using are the 3 largest from the very smallest. So you're going to need Versamark and colored ink of your choice. I'm going to be using a different color for each one of these elements here, and you're going to also need foam tape and regular adhesive of your choice. So let's get to making this card. So to start with, we're going to be using our Versamark ink. And the stamp we're going to be using is this little poem right here, and this is in like a really pretty cursive font. And so we're just going to be using that as a background. Most of this will be covered up, but it still makes for a really nice subtle background. And you don't have to worry too much if it's even, because, you know, it's going to be covered up. It's mostly there just for some extra texture. And I know this is kind of hard for you guys to see, but I will bring it up to the camera as soon as I'm done. You do want to make sure you cover the top of it though, because that will show more than the other parts. Okay, so now that I got that covered, you probably can see that. So we are all finished with this. So after you finish that, we're going to take some green distress ink and we're going to use the fish stamp that you see right here. And I'm just going to stamp him, and I'm using just some Recollections white cardstock. This is the 65-pound weight, and this is great for, you know, just simple stamping or layering paper. So I'm just going to use this peeled paint distress ink right here. So there is my image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this second largest square here, and I'm just going to cut out just half of this fish. So I'm going to do that, and I will be right back. Okay, so I have my little fish cut out here. Cuts out really nicely. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick some foam adhesive on the back of this. Okay, so I got my adhesive foam on the back of this, and I went ahead and stamped and cut out the other shapes that I'm going to be using, and I foam mounted those as well. So next we're going to assemble these onto this card front here. And you can assemble these however you like. I kind of have an idea of how I want them to be. These largest ones in the corners. Let's see. And I'm going to try to put these smaller ones centered to the larger ones. That way some of this font comes up through the bottom. And you also have some of the script showing up at the top as well. So this is pretty much what I'm going for this. I'm going to go ahead and stick all of these down, and I will be right back. Okay, now that I have all of these stuck down, kind of has a nice little dimension, just very light. I also wanted to mention I will list all the ink colors that I used below. These 2 are distress inks, the rest of these are Stampin' Up inks. And I actually only used these 2 sizes. I didn't use that smallest one that I had originally showed. This is just the larger one, and this is the medium sized one. So the next step, we're going to go ahead and put this together. We're going to put this right on top of the craft cardstock. And I thought about, you know, popping this up too, but I don't really think it needs it. I think I'm just going to keep it flush to the cardstock just like this. So go ahead and get out any adhesive of your choice. I'm just going to use this Tombow Mono Liquid Glue. I'm just going to go ahead and center that. So from here, if you wanted, of course, you could have stamped a sentiment down here, like Happy Father's Day, Happy Birthday, maybe before you put these two on. But I'm just going to leave it just like this. I'm not going to put a sentiment on the front. I'm going to do that on the inside. So on the inside, I have a piece of cardstock. And this is just going to go on the inside right like this. My dad really loves fishing, so I'm going to use the fish stamp again. And I'm just going to stamp it with the same green ink. I think that looks really nice. I'm going to put a little scratch paper down here. And this fish I'm just going to have... Actually, I think I'm going to do it just like that. And then you're just going to put some adhesive on this. I'll just grab my tape runner because it's right here. And just center that on the inside. Okay, and then the next step would be to stamp Happy Father's Day. I'm going to get my stamps ready for that because I'm going to be using my Lawn Fawn stamp set, and this is Harold's ABCs, so I'm going to set that up on my block and I will be right back. Okay, so I have my sentiment set up here on my clear block, and man, I love these Lawn Fawn ABCs. I was able to spell the entire word without missing any letters. I used all 3 of the A's and there's 2 Y's. I love these. I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. I also have some Stampin' Up! Classic ink, and this is in Night of Navy. That's what I'm going to stamp my sentiment with. And I could have stamped this before I glued it down, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. I know these stamp really nicely. So there's my sentiment. And a little fish to match in there. So I'm going to set this aside for just a second, and here's a little envelope I have. I already stamped the little fish here that coordinates with the front of the card. And since I have all these little letters on here, I'm going to stamp this again using the Night of Navy ink, and I'm just going to be stamping that right on the front of the envelope. Yeah, just like that. So here's our finished envelope and our finished card. I just love how this turned out. I love the stamp set so much. So if you don't have this, it's still in the current catalog and it's a great one. There is another set that looks like it can coordinate really well with this one, so I might end up getting that at some point. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend and a fabulous Friday. I will see you all later. Bye-bye!